I know. He's doing something really big and important, which is why you get stuck with these two today. All right. All right, guys, say hi to two people you don't know, which I'm always like, should we do this? Because I just got you all quiet. So go ahead, get up, say hi to two people you don't know. On to the next slide.
Hi, Steve.
I left the airline in January.
Y'all are a rowdy bunch today.
What?
Yeah, you're a rowdy bunch. I like it.
Just a reminder, on the interwebs, we can hear everything you're saying. So if you don't want it on YouTube, then don't say it out loud. So friendly reminder every day, PSA. Okay, let's get started with our vendors. I'm gonna start on this side of the room. Christina, kick us off.
Woo-hoo. Hi, Christina Ferrante and Julia May with 417 Home Loans. Wanted to invite all of you guys to our spring bash Thursday night, Uncle Bentley's open bar, food 5 to 7. All of you are very welcome. We'd love to see all of you.
Andy.
Andy Hefner with U Mortgage in Springfield, Missouri. If you got a problem, we'll solve it. Dance. There you go. But appreciate y'all. Just let us know.
Garrett.
Garrett Dollins, Meridian Title, where we close deals and open opportunities.
Yeah.
All week on that. Cole, ready.
Cole Keeling, USA Mortgage. This is like our second or third week of being preferred vendor, so I'm excited to be a part of this and reach out to new people in here. Thanks.
Welcome back.
Yep.
Ryan.
Good morning, everyone. Bryant Young, Insures the Ozarks. I've been workshopping BY the Insurance Guy. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm sorry. Very quickly, does anybody know what weighs more, a gallon of water or a gallon of butane? Does anybody know?
Let's go.
Butane is lighter because it's lighter fluid.
Okay.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
Every time you say BY, the insurance guy, I think of Bill Nye.
Bill Nye, that's what we're going for. I was hoping everybody would start
Yeah,
cheering.
Bill,
but it didn't happen,
Bill,
so that's
Yep.
fine.
Jess.
Good morning, everyone. Jess Bowman, Bowman Insurance Group. We are here to help you get more deals closed, help with the insurance portion of it. So anything we can do, we are happy to help and be a part of the team. And then I got this really cool award, the Vendy Award. I got it from Bryant last week and I appreciate it.
That was slide. We'll do a slide.
the
for it.
slide.
Yep, we'll get
Okay.
right to it. Yep, no
Okay,
worries.
cool.
Don't want to cut you off.
Sorry.
We have a slide for that.
Okay, I didn't know.
Casey.
Lisa Cooper with Summit Lending, just here to show you that I always have your client's best interest.
Awesome. Gat, congratulations on winning the award at the GSVR Awards.
And we're with Great American Title, Salute Closings, got a lot of surprises. And closers that just really are available to help you close the transaction without putting out all their fires again. So we're here for you guys. Need a resource? Call us. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Carl.
Carl McDougall with Dogstone Home Inspection, morning to one-stop shop for all your home inspection needs, home inspections, termite, mold, sewer, manufactured home, foundation certifications, septic systems, well, water. We do it all. Well, I do it all. I'm the only one. But thank you.
He does a great job too. I've used him a couple of times.
Thank you,
Okay, I
man.
think I have everybody, correct? Okay, cool. On to the next. So if you missed team meeting last week, we now have a vendor culture award that was started, and Bryant started it and passed it on to Jess, and so it's called the Vendy. So every week, our affiliate partners will also be passing along a culture award. So Jess, you won last week, so now it's your time.
Okay, so it was a very, very hard decision, but I want to give it to a vendor partner who is just always there, and she's a happy smiling face, and she's also a Rogersville native, so we have that in common. I'm gonna give it to Christy Noy.
Added to the awards this last week.
No kidding, right?
Haley, what do you have for us?
Hi, everybody. Haley with Onward. I just wanted to come and say spring market is here. We are picking up like crazy. So come chat with us on ways we can help you save time while you're out showing everybody these beautiful homes in this great weather. We can help you with marketing, sign running, transaction coordination, closing gift baskets, just multiple ways to save you time so you can be out in the field showing houses.
Cool.
Thanks, Haley.
Love it.
That. Oh, come on now. There we
A
go.
little slow.
All right.
Hasn't had the coffee.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. So for our MVVVP today, we're talking perspective. So a technology company that provides the real estate platform that our agents, buyers, and sellers prefer. Keller Williams thinks like a top producer, acts like a trainer, consultant, and focuses all its activities on service, productivity, and profitability.
So
A lot
along
of
that
words.
same line, so Monica Reynolds, when she was here for the operations boot camp, I mean, if y'all were in the class, it was phenomenal. The first playbook was establishing what are your core values, what is the mission and vision of your business. And so if you want to be a part of the admin mastermind that we're meeting now weekly, last week we talked about how do you develop that for your company. Each of you should have your own mission and vision for your organization, and that's what you're sharing with your clients. You can put that in your buyers packets, your listings packets, and be able to share that. And why are you in real estate and what is the purpose around it? And so we're really modeling off of Keller Williams having their own MVVVP, and you're going to be able to use that in your business.
I think it's all full circle for all the things that we're learning about providing more value and understanding what we do. So
I'm sorry, I just like looked over your head. This is the first time I ever felt tall. Sorry, I just am not used to it.
she's like, I'm so impressed with what you're saying.
I just
and
got
your
caught
height.
off guard by that, wow.
Yeah, it's not often, right?
Not often.
It's okay. You put us together. That's why I stand over here so I can feel bigger. Wow, my goodness. All right, let's move on. Culture.
Yes, so last week's winner was Jessica Lee. And let me get my phone. And so this week, the winner that she has selected is a person that she said her kindness and willingness is always there to help others, and it stood out to her. She goes above and beyond for her clients and still makes time to help fellow agents as well. So this week's culture winner is Lexi Robinson. Congratulations.
Like that? No, all good.
Yeah. We'll give the Cephas Award once we get it back to Jessica.
So awesome. Oh, yes, sorry. That was your name. Brokers. We have brokers in the room.
We do have Jim Bolin.
There he is. There's the man.
I think I'm renewed now, and the reason that's important is because none of you can renew until I do. So if you haven't started your CE yet, you probably should, even if it's in September that you're due. But if you're a broker, certainly you should be on it right now. If you've got a broker's license of some type, you should be doing that and getting it done. And I say I think because I got another notice this morning said I wasn't, but I got a
Well,
notice
you're
yesterday.
renewed. We haven't received the brokerage pin to pay that portion of it. That's the two-step. It is a
I sent it
two-stepper.
to her.
Yep.
It should be good. Other than that, everything's good. I mean, the market's interesting, certainly. We're still getting multiple offers on some things, and there are some things out there now that are starting to be priced kind of sensible, you know? So that's good. Just stay at it. Be good, please.
So a couple of reminders for those that haven't went through a renewal period or it's been 2 years. You will get a piece of mail from the MRAC that has a PIN code that you will need to use when you go on and pay your fee, which this year it's $50 compared to $48 for the renewal fee. If you've moved and you haven't updated your address with the MRAC, you need to do that quickly, or else you're gonna have to call the MRAC to get that PIN code. And just a reminder, we have this happen every year. We get down to the wire, we hear, oh, it's September 30th. You finished your CE on September 30th. It takes 2 business days for that to even update with the MRAC for you to go pay your fee. So even if you completed your CE and you didn't pay your fee, you're still not renewed. So then we're in this whole dilemma. So one, make sure your address is updated with the MREC and don't wait until the last minute because I don't want it to come down the wire and you're just waiting on paying because it happens all the time, unfortunately. So, and the fee this year is $50. Nicole was able to confirm. And if you're brokers, you would have already received your letter in the mail probably this last week, because I know I got mine as well, so.
And an email every day.
Yes.
From us.
No, from the MREC, boy, they wear you out.
Good to know, good to know. Just as a reminder, this piece of mail that's going to come to you, you're gonna want to fight the urge to throw it away. Don't do that. It's a little postcard. It looks like maybe it's
It's on a
stamped.
postcard. Mine was in an actual.
Oh,
letter.
they got wise then. Seems to me they were throwing them away, because I did that once. All right. Learn from my mistakes. Value 2, value squared.
Yeah. Value too.
Value cubed, I don't know. Let's see, Wednesday, April 10th from noon to 4 down here. Raise the hands of who's already gone to the first 2 sessions or one of the first 2 sessions. Raise them high and proud. I want to see in the room. Awesome. So the rest of you guys who have not, I highly, highly encourage it. And for those of you who had your hands up, I again highly encourage it because the conversation may be the same, but it's going to be different because you're going to hear something different. There's been 2 weeks or 3 weeks since the last one. So there's going to be new conversation topics within the platform. So I highly encourage it. Be down here noon to 4.
So right now we're having, because of the spring market, we're having an uptick in the usage of our conference rooms. If you would like to use a conference room, please make sure you book it and you don't just walk in there and you sit down and you start using it. We've had some clients that have shown up that they've had a conference room booked that they no longer have a meeting space. So please, if you're gonna use it, make sure you talk with the front desk and you get it booked.
And if you need more time, let them know you need more time.
Yeah.
If you're gonna cancel, please cancel. Because then they're holding that room for, I don't know how long they hold it for, but. Awesome, all
Okay,
right.
so how's the market? So last week, we had 40 homes that went pending in 1 day or less. This week, we're looking at 55. When we're looking at new listings from last week, we went from 385 in SOMO to 474. A big change. And then closings, last week, we had 239 closings. This week, we had 201. So that was a little decrease. And you can see the difference between GSBR, East counties and North counties. Then as we go to the next page, we have our active, here's, okay, cool. So we have last year. So last year at this time, we had 38 homes that went pending in a day or less compared to the 55. And then last year for listings, we had 353. And this week we've had 474. So a year's difference and that much change. Closing stayed about the same. Each of the counties, not much had really changed. I mean, North counties, we saw a big uptick in listings from 21 last year to 52 this year. And closings are kind of, depending on the county, staying pretty equal. So then as we go into active GSBR residential listings, so this last week, 1,456. The week before, 1,408. So we're seeing this steady uptick in listings as we go through. Last year at this point, 974. Wow. Huge difference. And then if we look at 2022 to compare it to now, at the same time, 599.
Friends, we're getting our inventory back. Woo!
And we're still not balanced though. A balanced market is 6 months supply of inventory and we're still hovering between that 1 to 2 month mark right now. So it's still a seller's market and that's why it's still important to have these conversations in your listing appointments. But as you can see from at the beginning of the year till now, we started out at 1366 and we're at 1456. So about 100 increase on that side of it.
Awesome.
GSBR Weekly, you get these emails every Sunday, so we're not going to go through a lot of them. One of the things I wanted to point out, so the board has an ambassador council, and that's essentially service acting as a liaison between the brokerage and the agents, trying to help communicate things that are happening at the board. We've added some new faces to our group. So Paulina and Cassie have also joined, and Samantha had created these slides just as a talking point of things we need to know. So a couple of things from our meeting last week. Here's all of the ambassadors. If you have any questions about the board, please come and let us know. We're happy to answer those. One, how many of you are using Broker Bay? Yes, no? Okay, so right now Broker Bay is acting as the showing service, kind of like what Showing Time was. And so this is included in your GSBR membership. Right now they're doing a sweepstakes. All you have have to do is go in and configure your account. You don't even have to put a listing on there. You just go in, set it up, and you're entered to win into the sweepstakes. And then once the listings, you have two options. One, where the agents, when they book the listings and you directly still deal with all of it, or the other option is it can go to your clients. So you have those two choices around it. But that is a sweepstakes they have going on to win a $25 Amazon gift card and a free month of MLS access.
Ooh, so even if you're not gonna use this for your listings, you still should do this and sign up because there are several people who are using them as listings. Elise, you're one, right? So if I wanna go show one of Elise's properties, my showing instructions probably guide me to go to Broker Bay and set the showing. It's very frustrating to have that as your showing instructions and then somebody calls you and say, yeah, I'd like to have a showing. And you're like, I would like for you to go through Broker Bay.
So I want to address that a little bit. I've had a conversation with a couple of people now. I still want the phone call. I want you to book it though. I would love for you to book it because 99% of the time, I'm still gonna give you the information that you want. I'm gonna have that connection with you as the realtor on the other end because I want to know who's showing the property. Because it also prepares me for, oh great, I'm getting an offer from this person. But what I meant was like, oh great, I'm getting an offer and I get to work with this person. But most of the time, it's the same conversation, but it starts out with, hey, is 5 o'clock open? You would have known that in less than 15 seconds if you would have just gone to Broker Bay. So if you go to Broker Bay, you can look then, and then you can start asking the additional questions, because I want to have that connection with whoever the other agent is, because that is genuinely how we work. We have that connection, that we want to have that relationship. But I also, you can solve 50% of the conversation by taking 15 seconds and both, and at least just looking. Because then if it's, because 50% of the time of that, I'm saying, no, it's not. Can you tell me another time that I can book it for you? So it's still about having relationships. I still want to have those phone calls and those conversations.
Putting it on the calendar. It allows you to have an intentional conversation without worrying about the details and forgetting to put it on your calendar to remind the clients that this is a showing.
It actually saves everyone time, especially me, who's half the time getting these phone calls while I have a 2-year-old that's throwing a fit. And so just keep in mind, if you're asking me to go and look and then book it for you, I'm gonna do it. I will, because I want to help. But just keep in mind, you might be hearing Sloan in the background with an attitude.
I would not cross her. She's terrifying.
I do.
And this is in the weekly email, but here are some upcoming classes at the board: new member orientation, code of ethics certification. So they have different components of that if you would like to be a part of that. And then they have some more CE classes. I'm still working with the board to nail down an in-person fair housing Keller Williams only class. So we're working to get that figured out. A couple of changes in Flex. You should have saw this in the home screen. Vacation rental, this municipality was removed, and then farm property type requirements changed for what qualifies for farm property, no structure required. So a couple of changes if you're using non-MLS. Here's the updated events and trainings coming up. And then on to the next, this one I really want to point out is the all zones meeting. ULI, Nancy Evans, who's one of our agents, she's very involved in this, and they're having a training on this coming up from tomorrow from 1 to 3 at the board. It's all about the second quarter zones meeting for the Urban Land Institute. So make sure you attend that. And if you have any questions about ULI, definitely reach out to Nancy. It's a passion of hers. YPN happy hour coming up tomorrow. Man, tomorrow is a very busy day. Hopefully you all have enough time. 4 to 5 Wire Road Brewing Company.
Awesome.
Okay, upcoming training. What do we need to know, Shan?
Honestly, I was a little sad yesterday. I had a lot of people tell me that they were gonna come to the lead gen, and we had just a handful of people. It was still a great time, a great experience. There was some good role playing going on in there. And I'll have to pick on Brad for a second. I mean, he made somebody who in this room was very reluctant to want to dial, get right on the phone. He's like, give me that number, I'm gonna call myself. And it was awesome. And it really motivated the other person and kind of let them know, hey, it's not that hard. So I'd love to see you guys there. Other than that, Nicole's got DocuSign today, and then really that value squared. Really, really, really important stuff, really great stuff. And then we've got Landon with Command to Close, and then big stuff on Friday, which kind of goes along with what we're doing today.
We have a slide for that. There's a slide for that. Yep. Okay, so today is all about profit share. So Aaron Kaufman is coming this Friday on the next slide. Let's go through.
Down here, I was thinking about it. I wanted to look small.
So Aaron Kaufman is coming this Friday.
After the
It's
slide.
it's after the video,
Oh,
actually.
okay.
It's fine. We have changed locations, so it will be here at the Market Center, due to, we can fit 75 people in this room and we're kind of at that point, so we'd rather just have it here, so it makes it easier for travel instead of Relics. So Aaron Kaufman, if you don't know him, he is going around training at all the market centers about profit share, and he calls it 401 KW. And he talks about what is profit share, his experiences around it, and so today we're gonna do a prep meeting around that. So we have some panelists that we're gonna talk about, and we're gonna go through, explain what profit share is and how it works. However, last week, on our leader growth call within KWI, Jason Abrams, who's head of industry, had this fun little 4-minute video that ended up inspiring everybody so much that they took this little snippet, and it starts with him just like sitting on the floor and talking to us. So we have the little snippet and we wanted to make sure we were able to show it with everybody.
Down here, I was thinking about it. I wanted to look small today. And I wanted to look small to demonstrate what I think is going on in the industry. But before I start, I want to read something to you from The One Thing. It's called Going Small. If everyone has the same number of hours in a day, why do some people seem to get so much more done than others? How do they do more, achieve more, earn more, have more? If the time is the currency of achievement, then why are some able to cash in their allotment for more chips than others? The answer is they make getting to the heart of things the approach. Simply said, they go small. When you want the absolute best chance to succeed at anything you want, your approach should always be the same. Go small. So why am I sitting in the back of the studio today? Because in the last 2 weeks, it sure feels like everything got really big. There's so much to talk about. And because there is so much to talk about, oftentimes we end up focusing on the wrong things. You see, the fundamentals of our industry, they didn't change. I was reading MREA over the weekend, which I often do when I feel lost. I consult the map book to make sure that I get back on track. And although no one ever reads this page, it's the one that I read the most often. You see, it's the dedication page. It doesn't have a page number, so nobody ever talks about it. It says the millionaire real estate agent is dedicated to the men and women whose hard work and entrepreneurial spirit place them squarely on the front lines of free enterprise. This book is dedicated to real estate agents everywhere. Puts them squarely on the front lines of free enterprise. I love that idea. You see, the fact of the matter is, our industry is the best damn industry on the planet, and I've never been more proud to be a real estate agent. I say that at a time when the press or others would have you think that we're somehow less than, because we simply help people make what is a tantamount to the largest financial decisions most of them will ever make. You see, selling property, selling real estate is as much of a holy calling as anything else. It's different than selling anything else. You know why? Because no one goes home at night and cuddles up with their stock and bond portfolios. They do, though, cuddle up in their houses. And the kitchens that we have laughter in are the same ones that we have cries in. You see, houses are the backdrop for the American story. They're the backdrop for the human experience. They become the theater for our lives. And yeah, you can't explain that to somebody who doesn't get it. And so right now, I feel like it's all too big. And so I was trying to think over the weekend, how do you draw what I'm feeling? And I ended up with this ridiculous drawing, which I did autograph. This is an iceberg. What I did here is I said, you sure have a lot of stuff bubbling underneath the surface. You got rules and you have change and you have this us versus them, which is happening in a whole bunch of different places within this very ecosystem. And you got drama and you have the press and you got the Insta Twitters and the MySpaces and the social medias, and you have fear and you have confusion and you have other people yelling about new models, even though there was nothing wrong with the old models. And you got noise. And all of this is bubbling underneath the surface of everything that we're doing. And so when I sit in meetings and someone says, well, that's not my problem, Jason, or I didn't create that. Yeah, me neither. But I'm gonna be part of solving it. Are you? And I'm speaking to the choir. Because y'all solve problems at scale better than any real estate company ever has even considered. So what's the problem that the agent has today that we all should be focusing on? It's that this giant thing happening underneath the surface is underpinning the way they feel about the profession they chose. And if we're not careful, the way they feel starts to impact their activities, and their activities start to recede because people do less of things that they don't feel good about. And people want to own and do more things that they believe in. And so what do they believe in? Well, it's at the very top, and you can't read it because I spelled it all wrong. But I can tell you what it is. It's that at the end of the day, this is a simple business. It's built on two things. Number one, the number of conversations I have about real estate. Every single agent in every single market center could literally wake up and grade their life by that number. And here's what the math says. The math says that depending on your acumen and your ability to have conversations, whether you possess the power to move people into action faster with you than without you, will depend on the number of conversations you want to have. But here's what I know from experience. It's going to take somewhere between 50 and 200 real estate conversations to do a deal. There's nothing new about that math. Heck, Ben Kinney used to tell the story of labeling from 1 to 100 and simply calling in a TCPA friendly and compliant way 100 people. And if they answered, they got a check mark. And if they didn't, they got an X. And if they set an appointment, they got circled. And here's what he figured out. If I get 56 of them done every day, I'm going to have an appointment. Someone to talk about this thing of ours about. And that hasn't changed. And there's no rule that they're going to pass on any level that's going to change that. It's the most simple and basic concept. I talk to people about real estate. And by the way, you could track the exact same thing to any single person on this call if you were willing to let it get that simple. And then number two, relationships. I'm going to have a certain number of people that I'm going to be in relationship with. And yeah, in books, we call them Mets and we call them not Mets. We call them all this stuff. Let me just make it simple the way that I think about it. Who are the people that wake up thinking about me when they think about real estate? That's it. That group are my people. If you have a phone list of people that don't think about you when they think about real estate, you don't got any people. You just have a phone book. The two things on the top here, they never change. And all the noise around all the things they do, well, it doesn't serve any of you. And so here's what I say. When something isn't serving you, walk away from it. Friends, we'll know in mid-July how all this is going to turn out. And every single day, I'm waking up, Jay's waking up, Gary's waking up, and there's 300 other people at KWRI. They wake up every day with their eye on that ball. I believe you have the best legal department, education department, finance department, coaching department, tech department, health department. I could go on and on and on. I promise you they're on the case. So what should your agents wake up and think about every day? They should think about going small in order to one day earn the right to go big. Going small isn't all this. It's just this. Real estate conversations and relationships, and that isn't changing.
Ooh, yeah, right? Well, it's what we talk about every day. That's so cool. All right.
And so when we're talking about, when I hear Jason say all of that, the biggest thing is you can only control what you can control. Everything else that happens in the world and what you hear and what is said, at the end of the day, as long as you're having the conversations and you're demonstrating your value and you can communicate that at a high level, that's what's most important. And you're calling your clients and you're really just wanting to check in with them because they're actually your clients. It's not a transactional base. You want to know about what's going on with their friends and family and what's happening in their lives. And so that's where it brings back to all of that is the relationship conversations and the communication. And do you know what your value is? As a real estate agent, if someone called you and said, hey, I heard this lawsuit thing, I think they're doing away with real estate agents. What is your response to that? And is it, I don't really know, or is it said, real estate agents now is more important than ever that you need to have one and how to represent you. And this is the value I demonstrate as your agent. This is what I do. This is how I help and serve you every single day. And if you don't know what that is, I would really encourage you to start there because people are asking and they're gonna hear it from the media or from you. And which would you prefer? So it's your time that you can go out and you can have these conversations and you can empower the conversation because this is where it shows you as the real estate agent, as the economist of choice, not just a transactional person that helps push the paperwork across the table. So I loved that video and I hope it inspired you all as well. Because it's a really great time that we get to be the people of choice. We get to take a stand. We get to show our value.
I mean, first off, if I can just for a second, real estate's something everybody always wants to talk about anyways, right? Like the minute you hear it's like HGTV or Joanna Gaines or whatever, right? It is all over everywhere. What an easy time to have a conversation about real estate. What an easy time to show your value and what you know, because what they're hearing isn't the same thing that we know, right? There's a big discrepancy there. And this is your chance to show up as that professional and change the narrative and flip the switch. So I actually think it's a super cool time to be in real estate because I think it's really gonna shake things up in a good way, meaning Nick's gotta know his value, right? If he's gonna beat Jennifer on the next listing appointment, he's gotta know, right? So think about that. When Rachel said to figure out what your value is, write it down. Memorize it, internalize it, know what you are, know who you are, know how you feel about things.
And we're all more resilient than what we think we are, right? Whether it's in life or in business. How many of you were licensed in 2020? Right? Pretty resilient. Overnight, you had to figure out how to show a house, how to handle a transaction, and you couldn't even step foot into the house. Couldn't even be face to face with your client. You couldn't even go to a closing with them. So all those things, you learned how to adapt to your business, to the market that's happening. The same thing that's happening now, it's use your buyer's agency agreements, which we've had. And the thing with the lawsuit is it covers all of 50 states. But a lot of those states, some of them, were not a part of MLS. They didn't have to be and to be a part of NAR. And they didn't have buyer's agency agreements. We've had those for so long. It's just a matter of if we're using them or not. Can we communicate them? So if you haven't been to a buyer's agency class, I would recommend going to one. I know Jim and Dawn are teaching contracts class at the end of the month. And so it'd be very beneficial to get a refresh on that as well.
Absolutely. All right, so tell me about this slide.
So Aaron Kaufman, like we mentioned, it will be at the training center or here at the market center as well, down here in the room. So just that's changed, but there is still time to show up. Okay, let's get to it so we can get to our panel.
Yeah.
Greater Heartland Awards next week. If you would like to be a part of a regional mastermind that is next week in St. Louis, you can still sign up. We're going to be there. We're going to have all the different breakouts between rainmakers, buyers agents, solo agents, ops for teams. They're going to have a wealth building mastermind talking about, I believe it's storage units and RV parks is the wealth building mastermind. And then they have somebody who owns a media company coming to talk about social media.
Good stuff, for sure.
And here.
And we have a couple of our friends that are gonna be speaking too. No big deal. Yep. It's a big
Nicole, what do we need to know in 60 seconds?
If you want to go to the next slide, then the contact timeline has changed and improved. What's really cool about this is that if you are using a team and using Command for Teams, then there is an author field now that shows who actually triggered an event. So that's pretty cool. Check it out. Tech office hours every Monday. If you have questions or need help with something, or you just want to come down and work in Command, and I'm sitting there to help you with that, come hang out with me at 10 a.m. Next. That's what the new contact slide or timeline looks like. Really, really cool. Next. And continuing education. Gym is now renewed. Today, the brokerages will be renewed as well. So please start your CE if you are a broker. Probably in 24 hours, you'll be able to renew as well. So get your CE, renew your license. Let's keep it going.
Cool. Awesome. Red Day is quickly approaching. Thank you to everybody that came out to the bowling night. We raised $20,000 for the everybody that's on the culture committee, everybody that came and participated. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, Dusty always makes it so fun when he auctioneers and stuff. It's fun. So Red Day is coming up second Thursday in May. We will be at the Dream Center. There are 3 different options of how you want to sign up. You can be in the outside, inside, or maybe like a community care package. Those are the 3 options. So we can get signed up for that. Is there anything I missed on Red Day? I'm looking at y'all. No?
Well, I do want to say that we made $20,000 at bowling night, but we had already had some amazing sponsors who had stepped up to support, so we're closer. I don't wanna say a real number, but we're in the, cause I don't know until like all the money comes in, but we're in the mid-30s. So we have exceeded the goal. They will take more though, so if you haven't had a chance to donate, keep it coming.
Yep, awesome. Okay, so if you haven't guessed, our conversation this week is profit share. So Zach, Austin, and Lexi, you wanna come on up? We have a panel for y'all.
Just that one chair, just stay right there.
Perfect. Hi, friends.
Here it comes. Hi.
Is that a short, like,
I was looking for you.
Oh.
She doesn't have her glasses on.
like you can see me,
She's very, I was looking for you. The sun was in my eyes from yesterday. She's very blind. All right, hi.
Hello?
Do you know why we're here today?
Rachel asked me to.
Okay, good. When she asked, you show up, right?
That's right.
Okay, okay. So it's profit share. Sorry you weren't prepared, especially you. Let's talk about what got you into profit share and what your experience is. And we'll just kind of go one by one. And I really want to know like what the conversation was like and how you get other people excited about it. Can we start with you, Lexi? Sure.
Conversation is, I just feel like is intentionality. So, but it's the same it's kind of the same when I started. It's like when I walk in somewhere and I sit down with friends and I say, hey, I just came from a closing, or I just showed 5 houses. It wasn't, I just got done with work. I actually talk about what I do. And so sometimes the conversation is, oh, so-and-so I know is getting ready to get their real estate license, or I'm thinking about getting a rental. So, I mean, it's just intentionality. And I just kind of flipped that script once I started learning how to really recruit and talk about real estate, so.
And would you say that kind of helps your business just in general? If they're not interested in the profit share and the getting into real estate, you're still having these intentional conversations with your
Exactly.
people?
So I can easily pivot to whoever's in front of me.
Awesome, awesome. Zach, what's the conversation sound like for you?
I haven't been like as active, for the last 3 or 4 years, so most of mine was like the first 6 years or so. I mean, it's not something I had to put a lot of effort into because it kind of bolts onto what you're doing every day anyway. You're just like talking with agents at closings, you're going to lunch, you're seeing them at showings. So it's pretty natural conversation. But I think the most important thing is showing some interest in their business, instead of making it so much about yourself and pushing what you want onto them. It's how's your business do, how you doing? What are you struggling with? And then kind of find the weaknesses and then show them how what we have here could facilitate growth in their business.
Awesome. So you're talking more to agents who are already in the business.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I was always going for like, people that were already in production, mostly. Not, I mean, I would talk to anybody, but that was kind of my focus because I had been in the business for a while. And so I don't know, just seemed natural.
So if I can ask one more question about that. So let's say you just finished a deal with somebody.
Yeah.
Would it be abnormal for you to say, hey, let's grab some coffee and chat, or like?
It would not be abnormal.
It would be very normal.
It would be very normal, yeah. I would go to lunch with agents and see them at luncheons and stuff like that. So, I mean, you just become friends with them and you know them and they're interested in your life and your success and you're also doing the same for them. And, everybody's, in real estate, there's a lot of movement. So, just looking for opportunities to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
But if you're not pushing it on them, it's more natural, it's a lot easier to make an impact.
Yeah, I love what you said about he's interested in their business and their opportunities and things. That's really cool. So awesome. Austin, what about you?
I think my conversations are a lot like Zach's. I do try to go after more like agents that are in production. And like he said, finding what their weakness is, because Keller does have so many tools for agents to utilize that other brokerages don't have. And every agent that's in production, you're going to experience different levels of problems or issues within your business as it grows. And I think every agent has a different weak spot that if we're able to identify that, and you can typically tell what a person's weak spot is in a transaction too? Is it, lack of communication? Is it time? What tools do we have that can help that agent kind of reel in where that weak spot in their business may be? And it's not something that I'm like, hey, you need to come join Keller Williams. A lot of times it's a decision that they're making on their own once they realize like, well, my brokerage doesn't offer X, X, and X, but you guys have this, and this would solve this problem and this problem. I think it leads to a lot of natural decision to come over. So it's a very easy conversation. It's not like I need you to sign this paper committing to move to Keller. I think it's a lot of self-realization, and it's not abnormal to want to take agents out, to grab a drink. And then of course you see them at the GSBOR parties and open houses, your broker opens. I mean, there's all sorts of ways to stay in touch with these agents so that they at some point do come on over, just like staying in touch with clients that we're lead generating for. It takes 5 touches on average before they really even remember your name. And so it's the same thing with this.
And it probably helps your co-broke relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
when you've got a deal coming and you're like, oh, we've talked, and yeah, so.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me ask this. I want to hear a fun profit share story. So this was kind of like recruiting based, right? Like you guys were out looking for the new and the productive and the problematic or whatever, and you're trying to help them. Okay, so where's it benefiting you? Tell us a fun profit share story.
You got one.
Zach's got one.
I don't,
sure
I'm
Zach
trying to, I'm
has
trying
one.
to think, I like getting deposits every month,
That's okay. That's really fun. That's super fun. It's more fun than fun, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, for me, it's kind of a win-win because if there's money that's getting deposited, that means the people that are in my downline are happy and they're here and they're producing and the company's profitable. And so for me, that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
If I've learned anything from you all, it's the relationships you've built with other agents, that whenever you're at a showing or at a closing, they're like, hey, I just want to get to know more about what you're doing. And so really it just comes from sharing your aspect of what gaps are you having? Like Zach said, asking more questions to them than you're telling about yourself and really seeing where it is. But then I think it also comes from just like, you just want to help them. I think in each of you, that's just your natural tendency. I mean, Austin and I have had conversations of like where he's asked me questions, I've asked him questions, let's help each other. I know I've asked Zach, I bothered Zach for 2.5 years before I bought my first investment property. And Lexi and I were able to work together so closely for so long. It was like we were able to learn from each other, and just like the heart that each of you have is just like, I just want to help everybody be better in what they're doing.
Well, I think, originally when I, learned about profit share, it's like, oh, it's free money, right? And like, that's the big draw. I think most people have, like when they want to start recruiting, it's mailbox money. But then I think as you start to really get into profit share and you get more plugged in with like the Keller systems, you realize that like the real reward is seeing who you've brought in start to do better. And you start to see them thrive. And then they start to get people in their downline, which then in turn benefits you in the long run too. And so I think it is a big part of why I enjoy it, is seeing other agents reach their goals that they, originally said that they were never going to be able to hit.
It's a very common occurrence with these three. Big hearts want to help people. Why do you think their businesses are thriving? Right? Because this translates right into their real estate business as well. So what would you say to an agent who's like struggling with the thought of even starting this conversation?
Just let's sit down. Let's just talk. Let's just see where you're at. Let's see where I can meet you at. That's really all it is let's just see if it even makes sense. I mean, but I like to level with them and be honest about what real estate really looks like if they're not already in the business. I am a little bit different because I did recruit for so long, more so new agents. The last year I was here, recruited 68. So the conversation is.
You're at my downline, I think.
I am, yeah.
It was a conversation.
Yeah. And Zach, and I feel like I used to like come and bug him like once a week and be like, who else you got for me? Who else you got for me? Fun story, the Ava team, the Stout team is really cool. They're in my downline and they have a new office front out there, and that's kind of cool to see that they have finally stepped into that and they're growing. And
That's
They're
really
out there
cool.
in their own little neck of the woods and running their business and doing their own thing. It's cool. So,
That's super cool.
yeah.
So what about you? What would you say?
Am I talking to like these agents and?
Well,
that are afraid to
clearly, they're
talk
all
to,
listening.
or am I- are
You
we
got the
talking-
floor.
Are we role playing?
No, we're not gonna role play right now. No, but what would you say to anybody that's sitting in this room that is like, oh, I'm not a recruiter. I don't, ugh.
Well, it's really not recruiting. It's just having conversations. It's filling the gaps in their business where they need something, whether it's just to be around other productive agents or the curriculum or whatever it is. It's just kind of moving them closer and then they'll join. So it's really not recruiting. It's not pushy. It's not that at all. I think maybe some people do that. I wouldn't say that's probably super effective, but there's really nothing to be afraid of. I would say that by not having the conversation, it's pretty selfish because there are agents that are struggling, or agents that aren't struggling, they're doing really well, but they could be at another level, maybe they have a small team, they could go to a bigger team, more profitable, so I would look at it the same way I used to look at lead gen, which is, if you're not reaching people and helping them, you're being selfish. So maybe look at it like that. You're not doing any favors unless you're out there talking to people and helping them with their business.
Such a direct correlation, right? With the job we do and this aspect of it. It's like somebody new. That's super cool. How about you? What would you say to these friends?
That's the question again.
No, I'm just kidding. What would you say? What would you say to somebody who's just kind of like learning about this for the first time?
Okay, I remember.
Okay, yeah.
So like, again, I don't really think of it as recruiting either. I think it's really easy with agents to say like, hey, like, let's go get a glass of wine or let's go get a drink somewhere and just get to know them. And that's why, like, for anybody that would want to do something like this, I think it's a really easy way to get into it just by getting to know the other agents. They're going to naturally ask questions about what Keller has to offer. I'm always curious about what the other brokerages have to offer. And so like, I'm always asking the other agents, well, like, well, what does Coldwell Banker have? Or what does Realty One Group have? Because I want to know like, what else is out there? And they're naturally going to want to do the same thing too. And I think that that's why it's really important for agents that are at our office to really understand what our models and systems look like and what we have to offer. Because it is selfish if there are agents out there that we're not sharing these tools with. And so it is an easy conversation. And I don't think any agent would ever be offended by saying like, hey, let's go get a drink. I'll buy the first one. Or let's go out to lunch, I'll buy. It's a really easy way to just get in and talk to people.
Absolutely.
Can I say something?
Please.
Adam Grady was my sponsor when I joined, which I guess was like 10 years ago or so, 10 or 11 or 12, 10, something like that. But I think back to how he didn't ever have a direct conversation with me like, you need to come here. I was interested in his business and how he was just doing so well, and he was, about the same age as me. And so for me, it was like I wanted to get into a closer proximity to him because I liked him. He did a lot of business and I wanted to learn. And so I met him at a house one day, and I remember he left his car running the whole time. And I'm like, this guy's a baller. He can afford like the whole time, and I'm like, who is this guy? And so we were just chit chatting, and he would just sort of have little pieces of conversation. And eventually I just moved over. I shared an office with him and for a while. And that was, but there was never like a hard sell. It was just me observing him, giving me some information, and eventually it was time for me to make a move. So something that came to
I
mind.
love that. He's such a baller. He's leaving his car.
Who leaves their car running?
Especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
No. Oh, wow.
I would say to anybody that wants to sit down with somebody, especially if they're new, because it was more my niche for sure. Anybody that wants to have a conversation with somebody that's new and doesn't know how, like, I'll sit down with you. I'll go to the lunch with you. I'm offering to help you build your profit share. I mean, it only helps us all. I mean, honestly. So like, if you're ever nervous about what do I even say? I mean, I know there's lots of people here that say, hey, could you come help me and help me talk to my friend about why they should get into real estate. And how they would even go about it. But, and I know there's probably lots of seasoned agents out there that would help you learn how to recruit more market share agents as well. So don't feel like you have to do it by yourself. Like that can be a group conversation where it's still just very easy and it doesn't feel like a recruiting appointment. It's just a couple people having lunch or coffee or whatever.
You're building that relationship and rapport with them. I think about Zach, he had one person that he met with for 3 years, and it was truly just to help this person over the course of it, to the point that they were like, you know, we've been meeting for 3 years, and I think it's the time that I need to make a change and take a stand for my business, because this is what I'm looking to do. And I'll never forget that, of 3 years in the making. And there are so many people here that I know that sat down and had a conversation with, and they were like, man, I think I need to make a change. And it's like, okay, but they have to ensure that it's like what's right for them. At the end of the day, just like everything else, it may not be the right brokerage, right fit, right model for you, and that's okay. And yet I can give you 10, 15 agents that they have put their both feet into KW, and they've seen the changes in their business and in their life. I think it's more than just business, it's about their life as well.
Mark's hand.
Got a couple questions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Mark, go first.
Well, it was actually Zach that recruited me over to Keller Williams and gave my number to the old team leader. And you know, I visited with Zach one day at his house, and he said, you know, the difference between you and I is when people call me, I know why they're calling. When people call you, or when you call people, they don't know why you're calling them, because you got your feet in, you know, in a number of different things. And it was after that day when I met Zach at his house over on, it was off Plainview Road, I forgot.
Hazel.
That's it. Really cool house, Mike, nice pool in the backyard.
It was a very nice house. I did
I'm
show it.
listening to what Zach has to say. And really, that was when I started getting my focus on nothing but real estate and dive into nothing but real estate. And that was the game changer.
Steve.
I think it'd be really valuable to know more about how the other agencies work, how the other companies work.
Yeah.
If there's some kind of cheat sheet, here's how Murray agents work, here's how Murray works, here's how Caldwell Banker works, here's how EXP works. So we could, you know, have a chance going into a conversation to already know about their business and what our benefits are.
Yeah, I love that.
Versus there, because
Yeah.
if I have no idea how a Murray agent gets paid, I don't know what the perks are, I don't know what yeah, exactly, I mean.
Basically,
There's
everybody
collective
talking about
knowledge in
color.
here, I'm
Yeah.
sure everyone knows
Love that.
something about each of the major players that
Yeah.
we'd be talking to, so I don't know if there's a way to condense all that down into a little cheat sheet type
Yeah.
thing.
And so there is a way that we can go through and we can have that conversation. And I think that's a great point. And also knowing that it's going to be different for everybody. I mean, there are some agents at other companies that they are $20 million producers doing it by themselves. And it's not necessarily that they need more money, it's that they need more time, but they don't even have the time to take a moment to say, let us help you to show you of how to build that time back. Maybe you should hire an admin, maybe you should get some of that off. So yeah, we'll work on that. We'll get that for you. Jim.
I think first of all, just real quick, and then I'll finish up. How many joined because of profit share of these three up here? I think that's the point. I mean, people, when I left the company I was with, you know, I had people calling me day and night, you know, come here, come here, come here. I didn't come here because of profit share. I didn't really give a damn about profit share. You know, the point was the culture and the training and the structure that was in place. And I think so. What you're hearing up here is the same thing. They're not going in and saying, look, you can make some money, you know. We can sell this. You know, it's not that. It's more about what's available. And then people make a determination on whether they're gonna make that change. It's a positive for them. You're trying to change their life because you believed in it in the first place. And it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe you leave, but you've changed their life for the better, I think, because I do believe, and I've been in it 28 or a long time, that this is the best company right now nationwide. There may be something else out there, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen anything close to it. I think it's a fairly easy sell. Now, is it easy for somebody to move? We know that answer. That's the most difficult thing you ever do if you're in real estate, because you have to uproot everything is, signed and cards, and you gotta call all your people. So that's the difficult part of it, is that maybe they really want to, but they don't. And maybe that's the next step, is to say, let me make it easy for you. We've got this great staff in place that will take care of all of that. But I think the point is that they're not going in talking about profit share. They didn't join the company because of profit share. It's just a benefit from being in the business if you do bring other people to us.
Yeah, it's a byproduct of sharing your story. And I think the Market Center struggles with that same challenge. We don't share our story enough. We don't share the impact that we're making in our agents' lives at a higher level. So why should we expect our agents to share their story as well if we can't do it? And so that's something that we're working on and going through and communicating that value on that side for it. Great
We've
work.
got the best staff.
Agreed.
28
Oh,
years
absolutely.
again. Great. I've never seen them really. And they're all in the right places too now,
Yeah.
I mean, you think about team leaders in the past, for people that have been here, their role wasn't the same as Mike's is now. And we didn't have a general manager who kind of like, cracks the whip and keeps everything going straight. We didn't have.
We definitely needed that. I don't think people
We
like
didn't
that
have a
though.
We didn't have a coaching program that worked. We've never had that. That's kind of the final piece of the puzzle, because a new agent can come in, and even an agent that's in the business could come in and get in the coaching program. I mean, I think this is just the absolute best staff and company. And
That was part of my favorite when I was recruiting, when I actually was having those appointments, was walking them around and getting them to see everybody who actually would be involved in their everyday business, and not just talk about it, but then they could have all these other people that they've met and these people that made it feel welcome to come here. So it's great to go out and have those lunches with those people, but bring them here. Just say, come on by, just meet them. That doesn't mean you have to you don't have to make a decision, just come see what we're about over here.
I've had 4 different agents I just have invited to team meeting just to be a part of it, just to see, because a lot of companies don't have team meetings, or they don't have the conversations that we have at our team meetings. They don't have someone like a Jayla who's up front smiling at them when they walk into the door, or they can't go and talk to a Landon when they say, or an Ian about their commission check, and they can't, go to talk to Shanna or Mike or myself about how do I build my business? How do I take it to the next level? These are the struggles I'm coming a part of. So, and Nicole, doer of all things, she has it, probably has all the answers for it. So there's a difference in each of that. So any last questions for our panelists? Any final thoughts? Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much.
And so really quick, we're gonna do a quick rundown. So Miss Erin Kaufman will go more in depth. So if this is even interesting, I highly encourage you to be here Friday.
It's just a teaser.
Yep, just a teaser, and please ignore some of my drawings. So really quick, when we talk about what does it mean for profit share? First, an agent has a transaction. They close a transaction, so very quick steps. Agent closes the transaction, step 1. 2, the Market Center is profitable. I can't tell you right now in this market how rare it is right now that Market Centers are profitable. We were number 2 in our region last year in total of profit share given back to our agents. And we consistently rank among the top 10 in Market Centers in terms of unit close on that side for the profitability. So agent closes transaction, Market Center is profitable. Then every month, the famous word transmittal, we close our books at the end of every month. We do that because we are a profit sharing company. When we profit share, portion of our company dollar or profit earned goes back to KWI, and that's distributed on the 21st into your bank account. That is how the general scheme of it goes. Now, we talk about what is a profit share tree. Again, please ignore my wonderful drawing. So really quick, so this is me, right? I'm stepping in and I am now part of Keller Williams. When I come in, Nicole asks the same question over and over again, is who is the person, doesn't matter who, in what conversation, doesn't matter how many conversations, allowed you to make the choice of coming to KW. So let's say I came in and I said, well, I talked to Shanna and based on our conversations, I think this is the right move. Great. Shanna is now my sponsor. Well, Shanna also has a profit share tree of other people. So she may have a sponsor when she came in. So for example, I'm also in Zach's downline. So as we look through all of this, Shanna is my sponsor. Shanna also has a sponsor. That sponsor has a sponsor. That sponsor has a sponsor, all the way 7 levels deep. And these are the different percentages. So first level is 50%. So Shanna is the direct influence. So she's going to get majority of the profit share proceeds going into her. Then her sponsor would get 10%. Her sponsor would get 5, the sponsor 5, 7.5, 10, and then the 7th level goes all the way to 12.5%. So it goes 7 levels deep. Gary Keller obviously does not have a profit share tree, and so his profit share actually goes to KWRI, and that's how they profit share for Keller Williams International for there. So he puts all of it back into his associates as well. So that's a quick example of what that profit share tree looks like. If you are curious, if you say, who is in my profit share tree? Do I ever have a profit share tree? Have I ever received profit share? Great. What you can do. So there we go. Access your reports. So if you go to mykw.kw.com, under your nice little profile picture, you'll click reports. You'll go to reports again, and there's a profit and growth share. So Keller Williams has 2 aspects, profit share and growth share. Growth share, I actually know the person that started KW Italy. So anything outside of the US is called growth share. It's under a different calculation, but there are people starting different KWs across the world. And so I think there's 200 agents out of KW Italy. And so all of those naturally form into his profit share tree. So on there, you can look at how much you've made year to date in profit share. You can look at your statements from previous months. And you can see who is in your profit share tree that goes through those 7 levels. So if you're interested to see what that looks like, who it is, here you go. I've also had some agents here that they've made fun, like client events, but people that are in their downline or profit share tree, they have little fun events just to kind of go, and one, just to see if they're mentored, if they need help, or just to encourage them in those conversations. So that is a little preview for Friday. I encourage you all to be there for Aaron Kaufman. 9 to 12 here in the training center. Anything else that we missed? I don't think so. Okay.
Hey, can I share super fast?
Yes, please do.
Outline real quick?
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No, I love it.
Um,
Come over here. Come over
So-
here. Get on camera.
Okay, really quick. So in my downline, keep in mind, I haven't really recruited for probably 5, I don't even know, really, like maybe 5 years, 3, 4 years, something like that. But so your level 1, that's who I've recruited directly to the company. I have like 14. And then from there, I have in my level 2.
No, he's talking. Different. Oh, he's doing that.
Well, it's just to give you an idea, like the results of having the conversations can add up. So all I know is that I have 14 in my downline and all the people that are 14 in my level 1. So these are people that I actually had the conversation with. They named me as their sponsor. And then, so this would be level 1. And then 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So from there, there's another maybe 115 people, most of which I know, but didn't necessarily have any direct impact on them being part of the company, right? So when you're focused on having like the conversations right here on your level 1, just getting agents that this place fits, then they're gonna naturally have more conversations, right? And then just kind of grows, So for my downline, I've got about 130, and really most of my effort was just right here, So keep that in mind. I just looked while I was sitting there, but basically the last like 9 years or so, total, I've brought in about 140,000, which, is whatever it is, 10 or 15,000 a month or a year.
Good
So,
return for putting no money
and
down.
it's, and it's no.
Every month, it's great.
Yeah, it's
I mean, it
nice.
works.
And some months it's small, some months it's big, but it's, at the end of the day, it just kind of keeps coming, And so I wanted to share that for context.
Yes, I'm so glad you did, actually. And kind of going back to what Rachel was saying is, what if Zach were to take these first 14 people and do like an event with them on how to have better conversations so that they can help grow their business and their money, right? And then that ultimately helps Zach as well. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Was this interesting?
Yeah.
Would you like to learn more?
Yeah, see you Friday. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you to our panelists. The more you know, have a little star.
We gotta have the rainbow that goes
over too. My bag full of cards yesterday. Yeah, can I come?
Yes.
If you don't, I'll be mad.
If you know, I would sit with you any day of the week.